What does it feel like to be an unattractive man? For all my life, I was called Quasimodo, the hunchback of Notre Dame. But it was only until last year that my life changed for the better. When you're unattractive, people don't look your way unless it's to bully you. When you're fat, too, I promise you'll never hear the end of it. To this day, people still make fun of me because I took a picture leaning against my car, and I drove it around, not realizing that I was so big I left a dent in my car. Everyone took pictures and made memes of my picture against the car and the dent my butt left it. Every time we were dismissed from school, people would run to their cars to make sure I wouldn't lean against theirs. I would always cry alone in my crappy car with an empty road ahead of me. I was a big chungus to these people. A boulder, Jabba the Hutt. I get that I had fat arms, flaps that hung over my belt, and had a face full of lard and acne. But I just wanted one person to be nice to me. I was all fat, no muscle, and I hated gym because I was constantly outmatched by every guy. I always came last. My breaking point was when it was graduation day, and right after I got my diploma, I tripped on stage and sprained the ankle of the girl in front of me. All night, everyone told me about how I ruined that girl's special day, but it was my special day, too. I was invisible to every girl in high school up until graduation day. When I got to college, I was still invisible. But one girl, just one, gave me a chance. She was looking to get back at her ex-boyfriend and lose her V card. I was available, and she gave me a shot. I couldn't go on top of her because I would have turned her into Flat Stanley. So she went on top of me. It felt fantastic. And the next thing I knew, I was done in a minute. She was furious and threw my clothes at me. She told me the only reason she got with me was so her ex-boyfriend would feel angry that she slept with a fat dude before he did, but she at least expected that I'd last at least 10 minutes. When I finally won, the universe spat in my face. That right there was my canon event, and I promised if something like this happened again, I'd just eat myself to death. I hated my self-depreciation. I wanted to feel human again for a couple of weeks. I planned a diet, got a gym membership, and I was ready to change my life. I started my diet and cooked my own meals. I hated how dry chicken breasts were, and sometimes I'd gag with how much water I was drinking. I was working out and the muscle building wasn't the worst, but doing cardio 2 times a day made me hurl in the gym bathroom on one end. I thought I was doing things right. I was taking zinc, ashwagandha, and 5 other vitamins, but my friend immediately advised me not to. He's a pretty guy and had no problem pulling girls, so he knows his way around this kind of stuff. He told me instead of shoving all those vitamins down to just take base Shilajit. Since it did everything I needed and spiked up my testosterone, I was hesitant because I didn't believe in any miracle supplements, but I can proudly say that base Shilajit woke me up in the morning with a heart on. My nightly cravings went away, so I stopped overeating for my diet. I did some light fasting to speed up the weight loss process so I wouldn't have to keep on downing so many chicken breasts in only 6 months. My face was slimmer and I could see my jawline for the first time since elementary school. My man breasts were clearly smaller and I stopped wearing hoodies to hide my bread loaf of a belly. I didn't avoid looking at myself in the mirror every morning anymore. The weight loss was incredible. The thing that surprised me the most was how much the base Shilajit made my peanut harder. When my meat stood up straight, it stood up taller than ever. It was so big it hurt to think about Addison Rae. When I wore jeans, I finally became licensed and equipped to go to Pound Town. My parents saw how much weight I was losing and helped pay to get me new clothes cause mine could fit Peter Griffin. When I was shopping, I got my first ever taste of pretty privilege. When I was buying clothes at Aeropost, all the goth cashier asked if I worked out and complimented my chest. After some light flirting, she wrote her number on my receipt and left it in my bag. A couple of days later, a girl at Chick-fil-A called me cute and gave me a free cookie. Maybe I'll go back one of these days and see if I could eat her cookie. Later on, I was given extra scoops of Panda Express orange chicken by a girl. With my world changing around me, I never thought this was all possible. I finally felt pretty, and other people were starting to recognize it, too. Even though everything was opening up to me, all I could think about was the goth cashier, so I called her up. I took her out on a go-karting date, and I finally faced my greatest enemy. She took me back to her place, and she told me to ruin her. I ripped off her clothes, and I was finally on top, and I didn't have to worry about squishing her. I lasted 40 minutes in bed. She finished 3 times, and I had so much energy, I humped her silly. I'm not sure if I want to be in a relationship yet, though, because there are other kitties out there for the taking. I made my grand return back to social media and started posting my weight loss in other subreddits and on Instagram. Everyone from high school couldn't believe my weight loss and how attractive I got. I was getting hundreds of likes on my posts and in my DMs. I had a bunch of apologies from everyone in my graduating class. There was a handful of girls who wanted to meet up with me for coffee, and others wanted to jump right to bed with me. The most unexpected surprise was the girl whose ankle I sprained during graduation. We're meeting up soon, and I'm gonna press my foot down on her back when we get wicked. It was like I was living someone else's life. It was incredible. Had I known pretty privilege was this amazing, I would have been attractive years ago. Edit: so many of you have been asking what I did, so I'll lay it out simply. I did the diet, took base Shilajit to increase my testosterone levels, and I followed Colin's workout routines. I promise that if you stay consistent with this, you'll go far. I'll see you on the other side.